loves, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I just want to say a very big thank you for 200,000 subscribers before we get any further into this video. If you are new, welcome, and thank you so much for joining my beautiful family. I hope you feel at home. And if you are a returning Day One supporter, welcome back and thank you so much for returning and thank you for your continuous support. I'm so happy to be back on camera. You guys do not understand. I took a very long break, a break that I'm unapologetic about, might I add. As wrong as that may sound, it was very refreshing, something that I definitely needed, something I didn't know my soul needed, because as much as I was okay, I wasn't going through anything, I was perfectly fine. I'm now feeling so much more rejuvenated, refreshed, and it sort of shifted my mindset. You know, during my period away from posting, filming, not really being active on my stories, I was doing a lot of introspection, evaluating various things about my life, certain relationships I had, and realizing how certain things may impact me not only emotionally and mentally, but productivity wise and whatnot. So I spent a lot of time. I've spent a month at my grand's house at Cookstad. Those who know there's nothing going on there, so usually at home every day, indoors each day. And then I also came back to Joburg, did very little work for 2 weeks, and I went to Cape Town for a week, switched off as well while I was there, and it was amazing. I really had the time of my life. I'm really happy I took the time just to not only literally be on holiday, but also be on a mental, emotional, digital, everything holiday where I'm just switching off and I'm really just thinking about how I want to do certain things differently this year, what I want from 2020, and how I'm going to go about getting what I want, but the changes I need to make, you know, what strategy am I going to go about achieving my goals, how to be intentional about achieving them, which is obviously things I'll touch on later on in the video. But just to reflect on 2019, I've never really done a video like this before. So 2019 for me, I definitely have to say it was a good year. So much happened. Wow. I was really surprised by a lot of the recognition I got in terms of the space I'm in, my career in general, you know, being acknowledged and celebrated by platforms like Cosmo, getting 2 Cosmo Awards, Glamour Magazine giving me an award, SA Style Awards, Feather Awards, who else? I mean, it was just, I was really surprised. I did not expect all of that, and I'm so grateful. And I often found myself in situations where because I'm someone who struggles with a lot of self-doubt and fear, and it's never a fear of bazothina bantu. That's the funny part. I don't care about what people have to say. I'm not interested in living up to anyone's expectations, including family members. My family knows this. I'm not trying to live up to anybody's expectations. The only person who puts themselves under pressure, and the only pressure that affects me, is the pressure that comes from here, that comes from me. So I sometimes you know, hold myself back from doing a lot of things because I am terrified of disappointing myself. So I've never really entered a year with specific goals set or a strategy or having done like a vision board and whatnot. You know, people do the most when it's a new year. I've never done that because I've always felt like I would hate to, you know, set all these goals for myself and all these expectations, and then next thing it's December 2020 and I haven't achieved any. I've only achieved 1 out of the 4. So I've always gone into a new year with the mindset of I'm going to continue doing me and what I do and what I love, but try and do it better. And should these opportunities arise, then I'll obviously elevate into those. And if anything happens along the way that possibly brings a drastic change to my life, be it for the good or for the bad, then it was part of my journey. So I've always had that kind of approach to life. On some, I'm gonna go into this year, as much as I know that this is what I'd like to achieve one day, I'm not ready for it, and the only reason I felt I wasn't ready was because of fear. So I spent a lot of time doubting myself and sort of like taking every day as it goes, learning as I'm on this journey of life, learning as I'm on this journey of my career, everything and anything. But last year for me, and I honestly think this was God's work, there were a lot of reminders, a lot of moments where it was like, you're worth it. And I think with everything that happened in terms of the awards and working with some, or being in positions or in spaces that I never dreamed I'd be in. Things happening that I didn't think would happen this soon in my career, some things I didn't even think would ever even happen, was really God reminding me that you are worth it and you can do it. So I call my 2019 the foundation phase, because before you build any structure, you need to make sure that the foundation is solid. My foundation was not solid. Why? Because of self-doubt and fear. So for me, 2019 was really the year of God, myself, you guys pushing me. Obviously, I really have to thank you guys for that, because you guys really motivate me to stay on my toes. I have to say that my audience, you guys are honestly amazing for that. I get so much pressure, but not in a bad way, in a very good way. Just like messages that I get from people on some, I'm so inspired by you, I love you so much, oh, I just, started my channel and one day I aspire to be where you are. Things like that really motivate me and keep me going. So as much as I had all that support, only last year it happened where I felt as though, okay, we are building a foundation of something that is going to be extremely strong. I almost said might be. Something that's going to be extremely strong. We are removing the self-doubt, doing away with self-doubt. We always say things like, don't wait until you're ready to do things, chase your dreams. But to be quite honest, it's not about being ready, it's about having the confidence. So when people say, and I only really understood this recently, when people say I'm not ready, they don't literally mean they are not ready. Because in any space where there's going to be growth, risk, or change, it's not a comfortable position. You will never be ready. You are never ready for change. And if you want to succeed, and if you want to grow, or if you want to make any drastic change in your life, you have to get out of the comfort zone. But the problem is, do you have the confidence to get out of the comfort zone? Do you have the confidence to chase your dreams? Do you have the confidence to quit your job and start the business that you've been dreaming about starting for the past 10 years? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just not about being literally ready, it's just about having the confidence. And I didn't have the confidence to do a lot of things that I want to do, and I was putting it off with the excuse of, I'm not ready for that kind of commitment, or I don't have the time. The time off that I spent at home with family, the time I spent doing less scrolling on social media, I really was able to have a conversation about myself, about how I can no longer allow fear to hold me back. So moving on to how we will smash our goals, and I made we capital letters in my notes, because I don't want this to be about me and what I'm doing differently and how I will smash my goals. I want this to be a video where you listening to me, I'm hoping that you're relating to a lot of the things I'm saying. So I said we because these are just practical things that you can implement in any space. I want this to be as relatable as possible. So it's going to be general topics that you can apply to any aspect of your life. So before I even get into the first point that I wrote down, I just want to tell you guys about the one thing I did differently on the 1st of January of this year. I prayed at midnight. So there's been a trend on Twitter, manifestation. I don't necessarily want to call it a trend, because it's a spiritual thing. It's more than that, and there's definitely been people who have been doing it way before. But there was a lady who started a movement on Twitter where she got a lot of people involved, and it became a thing. Praying at midnight, people would share that it's manifestation hour, just speaking things into existence. And then people would also speak about things that have changed in their lives since they started putting this into practice. So I decided to also give it a try with a friend of mine. So after I'd written down all my notes, I listened to gospel, I was singing, I was worshiping, and then I started praying at midnight, and I can't even describe the feeling, and I'm literally getting goosebumps thinking about it, and I'm getting emotional. I don't know how to describe it, but I just felt something that I've never felt before when praying. And I literally texted my friend when I was done, and I was like, that felt so good. I was overwhelmed. It felt like love. It felt like hope. It felt like a promise had been made to me, but not necessarily for me alone. And that's why I even was going off about how excited I am about this year and how it's going to be such a good year for so many, because it was almost as if God, or I don't know, but it was almost as if someone had said, don't worry, it's gonna be fine, and it's gonna be good, and it's gonna be better. You think last year was good? This year's gonna exceed your expectations. The first point is we must be intentional in our approach when doing things. Do everything with the end goal in mind. And this is so important, guys. And the reason why I say you must be intentional, because every single year you could start your year off saying that this year I want to do A, B, and C. You set 3 goals for yourself, right? And with your intentional approach, what I mean is you need to be strategic as well. You need to be, excuse me, oh, that's nasty. You need to be strategic as well. You need to have a plan. So you could literally say what you want to do until your face turns blue. But if you don't put in the work, then you will be in December 2020 only having done one thing because you didn't put in the work. So even with the whole strategy and being intentional approach that I wrote down, I mean to say that you must also have realistic goals. So when you are setting these goals for yourself, have a plan and don't put too much pressure on yourself to achieve everything in the space of 6 months. No. Know that, okay, this is what I want to do in the first 2 months of the year. You make sure that you actually get that project off the ground in the 2 months that you have set for yourself. Once it's running and you're comfortable, move on to the next one. Go above and beyond for things that you truly feel you deserve and things that you truly want. Moving on to point number 2, give fear no power over your life. Don't give fear the upper hand. Don't let fear hold you back, because you're only delaying yourself from getting your hands on your blessing. Go out there and do things that people said you cannot. Go out there and grab opportunities that don't make sense. Go into rooms that you are underqualified to be in, honey. Go sit with people and have conversations with people that you may feel like you are not worthy of being associated with. Because why? It's an uncomfortable space, but there is no growth and there's no success in comfortable environments. So I really urge you to not let fear hold you back from smashing your goals this year. So point number 3, discipline. Even and most importantly as an entrepreneur. Guys, any and every successfully running institution, organization, business, company has rules put in place. Why? Because that disciplines, it sets some sort of structure, there are boundaries, and that's how things get done. So if I really want to reach my optimum level of productivity this year, which I feel I honestly really haven't in my previous years, I understand the importance of putting certain rules in place for myself as a business person, for my business also. I'm just really trying to be a little bit stricter with myself in terms of really respecting my craft. That way I feel like I'll get the best results of everything that I aspire to achieve this year. Tip number 4, commit to your goals. If there's something that you really want to achieve this year, if there's anything that you really want to change, anything you want to improve on, try your best to commit and follow through. And that also just goes back to point number 1 about being intentional and having a strategy about achieving these things. As much as you can put things out to the universe and speak about you wanting to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, if you don't commit to it and if you don't have a plan of action on how you're going to achieve it, then it just makes it a little bit more of a tedious process. Tip number 5, be kind to yourself in the process. And this is so important. This is so important, guys. I sit on social media almost every day and I come across a tweet about how demotivated someone feels because their friends are doing this and their parents have said this to them. All these voices, things that just contribute to people feeling so insecure about themselves and their position in life, and next thing this person's doubting what they can achieve and if they'll ever amount to anything in life. And it breaks my heart. We really need to be kinder to ourselves, including me, and I'm also dragging myself. We need to be kinder. Guys, you cannot perform at your utmost best when you are not in a mentally and emotionally healthy state. Putting yourself under a lot of pressure to do a lot of things at once, overcommitting yourself, overworking yourself, it is the road to self-destruction. It's so important to be kind to yourself. Take time out if you need it, unapologetically so. Just live your life. I really hate how there's this notion amongst the youth about how these years will determine how you spend the rest of your life. Who died and made you, Jesus? Please, honestly, for real. Own race, own lane, own pace. Honestly, this whole thing of us putting ourselves and putting each other under unnecessary pressure by feeling like we won't amount to anything because our peers are doing A, B, and C, our parents are saying this, and as much as it's easier said than done, I know those things do affect you. Trust me, I know. Thank God I was able to get out of that mindset very quickly and do what I wanted to do despite the voices around me. There's no guide to success. There's no method. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Do it how you want to do it. But with all of that being said, be kind to yourself. Look after your emotional and your mental well-being. My second to last point is seeing and understanding the beauty in doing me. I really had to include this because this is something I live strongly by. And I get a lot of comments and DMs from people saying that the one thing that really inspires me about you is how beautifully and how gracefully you do you. And I'm so glad that people can look at me and my journey and acknowledge that. Acknowledge the fact that I am doing me. I don't put myself under pressure to be like anybody else. I don't put myself under pressure to compete with anybody else. The only person I'm worried about improving every day, being better than, is myself. Do you to the best of your capabilities, and that's really when you'll reach a very content level in life, and you'll have a healthier approach in pursuing your dreams and achieving your goals. Is when you are doing you. The last point I have is have fun while doing it, and you guys know me. I don't think I even need to elaborate on this. Yamana, this whole thing of no, I'll rest when I'm 40. I'm working hard now so I can rest when I'm 40. Okay, you can do that. I'm gonna take 4 days of work and I'm gonna go to Thailand. I cannot stand that mentality. You can work hard while you are having fun. It's very important, and it's only healthy, actually. Like, I can't believe that we even have to have these kind of conversations in this day and age. It's healthy to have a well-balanced life. This also goes back to point number 5. Be kind to yourself in the process. Be kind to yourself, have fun. Do things that you enjoy. Don't take away from your personal time just for the sake of work and wanting to get things done. Yes, it's extremely important to be committed to your goals. It is extremely important to be consistent. It's extremely important to be hardworking, be resilient, but it's also important to look after yourself and just take a little bit of time out just to do things that make you happy. Having fun while you're doing it also links to the fact that you need to be doing something that you love, because then the journey to where you want to be is also enjoyable. Such a rewarding journey. You really need to make sure that you are doing what you enjoy doing in order to perform at your utmost best. So that is it for my how to smash your goals in 2020 tips, and I really hope you guys took something from it. Let me know what you felt like you resonated the most with in the comment section below. If you are not subscribed, subscribe before you go, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for tuning in, my loves, and take care.